Hello, everybody. We are going live. This is Earth-based advocacy for humanity, and I am Chastity, and I am here today again with the amazing Colin Joe, and we have some really fun things to discuss today. Well, every day we could go on and always have really fun things to talk about. Um, I don't know about you, Colin, but this whole week literally has kicked my behind. I've been super tired. It's been a little bit for me to like pick myself back up and go, okay, where am I? I feel like I'm not sleeping super well. There's a lot going on in the field. When we get our collective going, boy, does it go, right? And you probably, I don't know how you're feeling over there, but, but
It's
yeah.
been quite crazy because 3 or 4 weeks ago, about hundreds of human rights measured that heat.
Mm-hmm.
It resonated at 7.8 to 8 seconds. Then it slowly been increased. It's reached a peak about weeks ago, 20 hertz. Then last week to 43 hertz.
Jeez. Well, that's definitely going to be explaining something, isn't it?
Yeah, because we as energetic beings are resonating waves of brains. When they measured human brain wave, human brain resonate at the same rate human rate.
Oh, interesting. Oops.
So if the Schumann resonance is raising, also going to probably lead to an increased resonance. Brain is, they've measured what resonance brain is. Also got heart space, actually generates a lot more in the brain.
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
The heart is about 3 times that it resonates. So the increase in the Schumann resonance equals brains, thought space, change,
Yeah.
and they won't know. That's that's the thing is great thing. Sad people don't, because we've used to everything goes along very nice. If our emotions get high, probably a reason for it. If I think about, okay, it's probably that thing that now what's increased the rest.
Right.
That can be very worrying.
Yeah.
And as we'll get into it later in acceleration, because we have ascension
You know,
But
sorry.
yeah, it's going to affect people in different ways. You know, and everyone's thought is going to have different effects on some people. Sleepless, some people will nausea, dizziness, and people will feel lack of energy, so they feel like doing anything. And the real reason people are feeling this way, used circumstances really take. You can experience these experience, and
Right.
then they're not just. Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, first understand energy.
Right. I'm going to completely agree with you there. Would it be fair to say that the Schumann resonance that you bring up, is that then directly tied into, and for pardon my ignorance, I'm learning the language for these pieces, but would that mean then that the Schumann resonance is tied to our heart resonance, which then is tied into our emotional state?
Yeah, because if the heart rhythm beats, so what the increase rhythm mean for increase, then, but it will increase. That increase in the being that in more are very heavily, but there's a reason shouldn't be concerned about. That's a concern we should
Yeah,
have.
yeah. I want to share an experience with you, and maybe you can help the listeners understand, because I think it's happening to other people too. I'm reading a lot of people's experiences. They're sharing their stories more and more on social media, or I'm seeing it coming up with clients. So this was really strange, Colin, and it's going to be a little bit of a mind bender for a lot of people. But I was sitting on my couch and I saw something out of the corner of my eye. And so I saw like what seemed to be a woman in a blue sweatshirt. And I thought, oh, maybe my neighbor is out there. And I look and I don't see my neighbor. And I thought, oh, that's really weird. And then I felt like, not felt, I mean, I actually could see again. And this wasn't in my mind's eye. You know, it's not like when I was, working on somebody or we're working interdimensionally. This was like, I'm sitting on my freaking couch. So then I thought, I saw it again. I thought, oh my God, I really don't want to have to deal with a ghost or someone trapped. Like, I don't want it hanging around my house, right? And then I kind of felt into the situation. I thought, oh my gosh, that's not a ghost at all. What it was literally was me in a different timeline. I was literally living my life in the same place, but doing something completely different. And
Yeah.
I actually reached out to a friend and I thought, have I gone mad? What is happening? And so I'm hoping that maybe you can help explain a little bit of what timelines are, and how, as we start moving out of the the first harmonic or the earth frequency, this heavy density, right? And we start embodying more and more of ourselves. Those are different timelines, right? Help us understand. I don't know, maybe what, how am I sitting on my couch and literally seeing another timeline of me doing something different?
Nikola Tesla. Universe. You look at vibration beats, peaks and frequency. Human. Let's look at frequency. Experience. Frequency. That energy. What? So what we experience, we create. Galactic field. Galactic energy and use mankind using an experience self-determined. Their experience was
Right.
everything energy. Tesla said universe frequency. It's timeline. What we expect sequence each moment potential experience some event or sitting dead. When you get them works rhythm with spin with that universe
Mm.
all based frequency rhythm passion. It's sequence events. So you understand different time humans have thought capture that. But in order to form a time here that events a COVID-19 thing and in creative teams
I have to use it. You have to use a code word, and we're actually live on Facebook for the first time in forever. And then, but maybe not. Maybe not live on we're live on YouTube, but not live. Maybe not live on Facebook. I'm having some issues trying to figure this out. So that would be really very curious. We'll have to go to the brand new tube, I think it's called.
Yeah. So we are certain limited,
Mm-hmm.
limited experience of ourselves. So we born, entered, registered system, then
Mm-hmm.
captivated.
Right.
So they created a experience because everything
Nothing like blowing a few fuses. It'll be okay. We can recover.
yeah. And this information time this is a sequence ends wave of and the determinate people that create a potential. So we, this potential, each person has different. That's why people can experience really seems coincidence, but it also works the other way. Experiences react to what we are. So
Mm-hmm.
the fallen one interjecting their role.
And and is that because they have to have us to survive? Like they need something we have to survive, or is it just for kicks? Like some people are like I have really great ideas on that. I think they need to feed off of it, but a lot of people don't know that. So why
Yeah,
why why are they causing the cause and effect in keeping us in that lower vibration? So all we're doing is reacting, and we're stuck in trauma.
a number great good. So they entered and they do export as good. They also that they're pain. And that gives that available. It's great more various them.
You're blowing my mind right now because I've never heard, I've never ever heard this, but you know what's really curious is I use something that I call a Celestine fire, and it is a white gold powder. Energetically, I use this and it clears out the energy body. It also heals and seals rips and tears in the aura. Is this the same thing? Oh my
And there's
gosh.
nothing wrong physically with what
Mm-hmm.
and humans effective. They also they've been using on.
What
And
do
then
they need?
also,
I have so many questions. I'm sorry. Keep going.
go ahead, ask your
What
question.
what do they need it for?
Well, gold has a super.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the most. What does activity mean? So they are able to their energy factor
Mm-hmm.
so that they can use the energy they need in order to sustain themselves. And uh, and then the next thing they do, they they also feed off human traumatized blood, because when a human is traumatized, because your renals get high and they issue substance that is very energizing all in one. So it's in their interest to keep us traumatized that they can feed off.
Okay. Oh my goodness. This is going to open a whole nother can of worms. I just want to check your audio really quick. I was finally able to kind of see some comments, and they're saying there's a little bit of cutting out, so I want to make sure that we're pretty clear. If somebody wants to give us a shout out and just kind of see how the audio is working now, that would be very. So, if you want to say some words, Colin, while we kind of check our audio.
You check my audio setting. I'm going to push my audio volume up a bit.
Perfect.
Is that better?
If anyone wants to give us a shout out, if that's better, that would be.
Yeah, I had it on automatic adjustment, but
Okay.
When I checked earlier, it was much higher than it. So
Perfect.
adjusted.
Yeah.
Let me know if there's a problem.
All right. I haven't heard anything yet, so we'll just keep we'll keep going. I can actually hear you better, but I wasn't having any issues, so I didn't catch anything breaking up on my side. So anyway, if there's any more issues, holler at us. Oh, so yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's better. Perfect. Thank you, Colin. Okay.
The audio settings in the audio microphone at the bottom. This little arrow, they click on the arrow and they can do their settings right at the bottom.
Perfect.
And then if they increase the volume of their settings, they'll get better volume.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, it sounds like you're coming in better. So they're saying they hear you better. So this is great. Okay, so we're going to go back to uh, my mind is going to be hung up on when you say the fallen ones, and then you put that in line with what our adrenals create and what they want, right? This makes me start to go, okay, well, hold on. Um, are some of the fallen ones human beings, or do they just appear as human beings to us? I think that is something that obviously can take us down a whole nother road, but I think it's important to know and understand how that dynamic.
Yeah, well, in 2014, the off-planetary fallen ones, obviously, and they were offered sanctuary somewhere else. So they've been removed, and then we were asked here to actually fallen ones that are on planet. They are two different groups. So some who are bloodline families, so that they've been here for a long time. They've by introducing uh, the DNA of the Nephilim. Nephilim then had certain families. The Nephilim were very large giants. They were considered to be, but they had very strong genes. So they were introduced here, but they died after the flood, wiped out the flood. But their bloodlines still remain here. And they are called what are called bloodline family. So these are people who have Nephilim genes. They don't have human genes, Nephilim. And as long as they keep their bloodline separate, integrating with other human families, uh, you know, when they keep their bloodline pure, they retain the Nephilim. And the Nephilim consciousness is without empathy, understanding. They have a different soul structure completely to the human soul. So we've got this group of bloodline families on the planet to be running things here thousands of years. And then we have other beings who are what are called walk-ins. They have negative beings come take over the souls and walk into bodies and take over their body. But the beings that are taking over their body are reptilians. Reptilians now understand that so they live inside these beings, but they're not human.
Yeah, you can kind of see those like anchored in. They kind of like anchor in the lower frequencies, almost like a shadow body. Do you kind of see them, and then that's how they control then the central nervous system? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When they walk into the human soul, what they do is, you see, they are a soul being. Humans are soul being. And the energy form of human is derived from their souls. In their souls and the soul codes they hold in their soul code. So what these beings walk into complementary beings on Earth, similar soul codes to them, they can then human body without harming the soul of the being that they've tested. Because that would be a violation of this law.
So they have so they'll have some of that DNA in their own.
Yeah, because what they then do progressively, they convert human DNA into reptilian. And so then they have what is reptilian that is void of any compassion. They're basically sociopaths. They don't have any compassion. They're liars, cheaters, stealers. They don't have any sense of guilt, conscience. They really are they just want to survive, and whatever is necessary, and they will do whatever is necessary. So yeah, they're a bunch of beings that are devoid of conscience. They're devoid of any feelings. I've met quite a few of them.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've always been under the impression that it's probably not a good idea to say when you recognize one. I don't know. Not that they can jump and attack you or anything, but they can kind of, right? So, or certainly make your life
Yeah.
really interesting. Can this happen then on other this is kind of a complicated question, but can this same thing happen on other timelines without your knowledge, and then eventually just take over your entire existence? Or am I kind of just being a little crazy here? Am I making sense?
Yeah, well, I think I understand your question. It's like I said, we are operating at a narrow broadband of frequency that keeps us traumatized, keeps us feeling guilty, being afraid, and self-esteem mode, keep us in victim mode. So we need a God out there who's going to come rescue us, and so they just feed their system that feeds human consciousness, that human consciousness keeps repeating the same patterns of behavior so that they can control human beings. But that is beginning to change because the whole frequency of the planet. And when the frequency changes, what happens? Timelines are frequencies of energy. It's a sequence of events along a certain frequency. And there are 12 potential.
Right.
The 12, for each potential, there are 12 probability. That makes 144 probabilities. Mm-hmm. In each 144 probabilities, there are 12 timelines, possibilities. So that creates 1,728 timelines of reality.
Right.
So our consciousness is potentially on all of those timelines.
Yes. Isn't that mind-blowing? I was just doing a meditation last night. I wanted to try to prepare for today's conversation. And there's like a time clock, right? And so these times, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like 1 and 7, 2 and 8, like somehow the time are they called time vectors? How they come in and where they anchor into our bodies are actually where the chakras are. So these come in and anchor. I want to say 1 and 7 is the root chakra, right? And that just goes into the 12. That doesn't go into the 13, 14, 15, right? But is it our goal then to collapse these and into one and then stream them? And is that possible?
Yeah, look, I was told, but I've never actually seen them or researched them. Actually, they're what are called the universal timekeeper.
Yeah. Yep.
Or masters of time.
Yep.
So they can interject. So if just imagine a movie that has different frames, and each frame going through the projector produces an image on the screen. And when these images go through screen, they create an illusion of events that people watch and they hear the sounds, and so they become involved in it. It pretty much works like that. What they can do is they can splice time. They can take one part of time and then take out another part of time, splice
and put them together.
Them together. It's just like a movie. That's how they edit movies.
Interesting. Yeah. And then that dissolves. That just goes back to source, the part that was cut out.
Yeah. Yeah, because no time, that is not recorded. Everything in the universe is recorded. And there's a recording system that is called the
It's okay. It's in the records. I know there are a couple different record stores, Akashic, but then there's also I don't know if the hall is it Akashic, but then there's the halls of Amenti, and I don't know what the difference is between the two.
Well, look, there's the Akashic record, and the Akashic records record our emotions, like the sound movie, it's recording the sound.
Okay.
And Akashic records are recording the events, the action. But you have the two things, and they go into what is, that happens at the universal level, but at the multiverse level, God works. And everything is stored.
Right.
So all information feeds into the system, and it's always stored there. So you can't fool the universe.
No.
Because the timekeepers, the masters of time, what they've tried to do is splice in, so hoping that the universe will forget. But actually, it doesn't forget anything.
No. And, there are lots of there's actually scientific projects that show that, right? Or not projects, but you know what I mean, things.
We had recently in our experience something called Mandela effect, where people had different experiences of time in the past, when some people actually thought, for instance, Nelson Mandela had died in the 60s. So when he appeared again in the 1990s, thought, but he died in the 60s.
What
How could he die?
Yeah.
And that's where it gets its name from, the Mandela effect. But I started looking into this, and I saw that people had different understanding, different experiences, even in books, and advertisements and brands and different things. It was fascinating for me to go research, but people all over the earth had experienced a different event.
It's strange. It's very strange, but you can even break that down into a much smaller construct, and two people having a conversation view it completely different. We have different experiences, right?
Yeah.
And it's we're both in the exact same space, essentially, right? We're interacting together, and we have a different memory of the conversation or the outcome, or I read this quote one time that said that the problem with communication is people think it's happening, right?
Yeah. That thing that actually that we don't really know. We always tend to take in our heads.
Yeah.
Once we begin to learn to communicate with our heads and our hearts, we will keep mode of communication. Because people keep secrets from they keep secrets from. They're afraid that if that person knows a secret, they might be against them, because that's human behavior. You know, if you found out that I was the one who killed your dog, I might have done it accidentally. You find a dog in your, and so I'm going to keep that a secret. I don't want you to. So instead of going to your house and saying, listen, I'm sorry, I was playing with, you know, the vice and shot off and killed your dog. I'm sorry, me, you know, I'll pay you back. We don't want to go through that process of repentance, reconciliation, restitution, and you know, so we avoid those things. So we keep everything. So we manufacture a reality that is a false reality. Yes. Whereas if you communicate it from the heart, you would understand that this family next door to you that you killed them are going to grieve. And you should also grieve because they are grieving. So instead of being empathetic, and we're going to this reptilian time frame scenario where we keep secrets and we admit to harm, we don't admit to guilt, we don't admit to things. We just keep hiding all the stuff. And hearts get overfilled with, you know, negative energy and negative experience and guilt. Yeah, low self-esteem because they work together. When you think about something that harms your self-esteem, so you feel less of a person because you know you're hiding something. And when you're hiding something, you have guilt, low self-esteem, and then you're afraid of it.
Yeah.
So playing this loop, you know, it's of self-defeat.
That's what I was going to say, self-defeat, self-sabotaging. And that's exactly where the fallen angelics want us to be. They want us to stay. And that's why it's done that way. You know, and I have an interesting question. We have, so they've created what we now know today as linear time, which we know isn't real, right? Like it's a construct. I mean, time moves spherically, right? But we've created, you know, we get up at 6 or we get up at 9 and then we work these work hours and then we have to, craziest thing to me is here, I don't know if you guys do it there, but we have to set our clocks back actually coming up. And then they say we actually gain an hour. And I'm like, in whose mind do you actually think you gain an hour by setting the clocks back? Makes no sense to me. But so my question is, so in session work, I've actually been able to go in and collapse several timelines at a time, right? And then you can see them merge, they come together, do their swirly things and do what they need to do for integration. And then sometimes the person's knocked down for a little while, right? Depending on what they're having to integrate. But do you think, or you know, has your higher self shared with you in your travels that we are then going to break out of this linear time and self-actualize time as it is? Like, are we going to be able to experience it as it truly is anytime soon?
Yeah, well, it's actually happening. That's why the Schumann resonance in the universe is something called circadian. Now, the circadian rhythms is the law that governs all the rhythms of planets and stars and universes and creates this whole perception of also creates it. It's created from what is called the rhythm of art. Then that creates this rhythmic system of cooperation and everything cycles, spiral, amazing patterns. You know, I was once shown how to do it, just like I can't.
Yeah, there's a lot that can't go into words. It doesn't work like you see it or experience it, and then I don't know, like our brain, our brain just can't, there's no words for it.
If you want to understand this, go look up Mendelbrot, Mendelbrot fractals.
Mendelbrot. And it's in your teachings. Like I was watching this in your classes. So for those of you who haven't taken any of Colin's courses yet, they're absolutely mind-blowing. They're helpful, right? They're helping break down in ways that our brain can comprehend this. And so thank you for that, Colin, for being so very clear in how you explain it. And you're very calm, and it's really beautiful experience. But I was watching, I don't remember what part it is, studying some more on the timeline, the holographic effects of realities. Probably the best I've ever. I've done very little of my own reading. I've just done self-sourcing. So when I find someone's readings, or I'm led to, it's moreover I'm led to. My higher self says, "Here's the deal. We're going to go talk to this guy," or because I don't want to bring in a whole bunch of information that and then take on somebody else's reality, right? I don't know how to explain that, but this is it's very easy to comprehend these very confusing, mind-bending, maybe confusing is not the word, mind-bending. They're just different ideas that are things that we're not taught in school, that we should be taught. We should be taught who we really are and what we really are, what our universe really is.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually taught a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Even in the New Age community, a lot of, and just that, I don't even like that word, but or that phrase, right? It's kind of been manipulated so much. But I have even been told that it's not okay to think of ourselves as holographs, or our world as a holograph, because that's the wrong way to think. You're here to have a human experience. And it's like, wait, how, how is it not okay to think you're that you're not holographic when you actually are? So how are you going to have a true, authentic human experience if you're not experiencing like what you are? That one left me baffled. I was like, what?
People in that narrow time band, they won't reach out. Say, hang on, I've got this potential. So each choice I make, every thought I have, every emotion I have, is going to determine which timeline potential.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you're on a higher potential, then you have different frequency of ability that comes at that time. Imagine a wave creates a wave with 12 waves, and each of those 12 waves creates 12 waves. And all of those are experiencing time. And we have a smorgasbord. Which timeline we experience ourselves. And what we're doing here is keeping ourselves in this narrow band of potential, probability, and possibility, because we keep ourselves in this low frequency, thought patterns, low frequency emotions, and we can get out of that. It's just a question of knowing how. And my higher self, when they told me 14, I was going to explain to you, oh my, never going to explain this.
Right. I am.
And then he said, explain it simply. I said, what do you mean? He said, because if you can't explain it simply, you don't really understand it.
Yeah. And that's really what mastery, once once you understand. what being a master is, mastering something. And you're able to then relay or teach in a way that is the other people can comprehend, can digest it, one little spoonful.
It's such a big body of information that we can't learn it in 1 year or 2 years.
No, there's no way.
I spent 3 years learning this stuff and trying to put it all together in the beginning. It confused the hell out of me. Beginning like A related to B or B related. I couldn't put all this together. So after the 3-year period, it started to make sense because I could see how mechanics of creation work with the mechanics of hologram, and how the mechanics of the hologram works with timelines, how timelines of experience, create different reality fields, and then you get into the multidimensional nature of reality. So, universe actually works. They have these narrow experiences in these bands of frequency that are called dimensions. And how do the dimensions work? Multi-dimensional reality. And then you get to learn about, well, why is this all going on? And then you learn about the soul, the evolution of the soul, and how we are just God experiencing Himself through us in these experiences, and the purpose of those experiences. So it's God recreating Himself, but giving us the experiences, the choices to be like Him, like the creator beings. And people don't realize that they are creative beings. They are creating their own experience.
Yep. And they're spending, and that's because of that's because of the controllers. They have conditioned us for thousands of years to look outside of ourselves for the answers.
Yeah.
And so here we are, we're out here looking around. Who is God? What is God? What is truth, right? Show it to me, show it to me. And not taking the time to go inside and experience it and feel it and understand it and then, live it. It's my understanding, and I don't know, I know we're going to have to finish up here. If anybody has any questions they want to shoot out, please do before. We have had access to up to about 15, I think, kind of dimensional aspects, but it's my understanding that, and of course we can go higher than that, and there's so many, as you said, right? But it's my understanding that we've kind of broken through a whole new another phase. This is going to go beyond like, people talking about 5D Earth or, whatever. But, and we can go into this next conversation or as time goes on, but that different dimensions have been opening up like 16, 17, 18. And I'm kind of curious if that's going to be in terms of, like, are we going to be finding new chakras in our energy field? And, will those kinds of things be brought into us? So we can save that for another time, but just kind of want to kind of put that out there because there's so much more that's coming out. So taking a little bit of that into consideration of does that reconstruct our light body, and what. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to pop them into the what's it called, the chat space. This is gonna re-go out, so I will send it out. It looks like maybe we had a little bit of issues on the regular Facebook. There was some in a private group that played, and then one on YouTube that played beautifully. So yeah. Thank you, Colin. Go ahead. No, it's good. I don't know. It is what it is, right? And when I am able to get on all these places, everything on my screen is sharing. So that's really interesting too. So it is what it is, right? It's all going to be just fine. Um, thank you, everybody. That is,
I'd just like to wrap up quickly.
Yeah.
About time. We can maybe take this up some more next week.
Absolutely.
What determines the timelines of potential, thoughts, and emotions? That's primary energies. Because thoughts are waves of energy, brain waves. Have you heard that term, brain waves?
Yeah.
Because thoughts are energy, emotions are energy. So for an ECG, they're measuring the thoughts and our emotional responses coming from our bodies that are at electromagnetic field. So humans are electromagnetic beings. And so the primary potential that thoughts and when people start taking responsibility, then they will have different. And then you get to timelines of probability. And those are determined by our standards and values. So you've good thoughts and good emotions, then you get to probability. How do you put yourself into a higher time ability of what is achievable? And it's based on our standards and values. So even if you have high potential in terms of your thoughts and emotions, those standard values, it drops you down into different. But if you have high standards, then that puts you to a higher probability. And what determines the timelines of possibility are attitude. If you have good attitudes, you can have better experience. If you have bad attitudes, you can have worse experience. So we have this smorgasbord possibilities, potential probabilities and possibilities if we know manage a problem. And we have to start understanding what reality really is.
Yeah.
It's not about the degrees or the education you've had. It's about the character, soul that determines the experience. So, and the universe has given us all this knowledge on how to do this, but people continue to discard it and not give any confidence. And one of the greatest geniuses on this planet, Nikola Tesla, said, if you want to understand the universe, understand energy, frequency, vibration. That will explain everything. Now, I really encourage people to take that in and say, are my experiences determine what is I'm experiencing outside of me? Or can I self-determine my own experiences to the frequencies, energy that I produce? And I produce them through thoughts, emotions, standards. That increases the frequency. And this is just basic stuff.
I know, right? It's in my mind I was like, gosh, I wish that they explained mathematics this way, right? Because it's all, the conversation is math. And I've always been afraid of math, and you just make it so simple because that's all it is. It's actually really simple. And once we understand the correct ways, then everything comes so much easier. It's not a challenge. It's not painful. It's not uncomfortable. You don't get headaches. You're not going, I don't get it. I don't get it. You're going, what else can I create? What else can I create?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I want to say thank you so much, Colin. I'm really loving our conversations. I'm loving taking your classes. Everybody, please, everyone that showed up live, that's still live, please make sure that you like or leave a comment. Leaving a comment is going to be easier for me to mark your name down. I really want to continue to, while we can, offer a drawing for somebody to take Colin's courses for free. He's been so generous. I also have a meditation for those of you that want the meditation. It's a mini clearing from myself. Please inbox me or just put down, yes, meditation, please, and I'll send that to you. We're really excited that you're all here. So thank you so much for listening. Have your questions ready. Anything you want to talk about next week? We're going to show up same time, same place, same channels, we hope, maybe more as we go on. Anyhow, thank you so much, Colin. So go to the writings of Colin Joe. Is it Colin Joe Byrne or the writings of Colin?
The writings of Colin Joe.
Thank you. The writings of colinjoe.com. Check out his stuff. And you can find me on Facebook and on Patreon. I have some new classes starting up. I do still offer live session work. And that would be theartofmeta.com. So much love to you guys. Thank you so much, Colin. So much love to you.
Thank you. Love you, and I'm so grateful for service.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really jazzed about it, and I love you too. I'll see you soon. Bye, you guys.